I like leaving the autosave on because it gives me a great breakpoint for my YouTube exports. But maybe half an hour is a little too quick for the streams. It doesn't say what they're. Okay, let's go down this way. Medium freighter is Mark III, so they're not retrofitted yet. In fact, none of them are retrofitted. Why have they not retrofitted? Small freighter, light haul, okay. Retrofits on automatic. Let's turn these off of manual upgrade, but leave retrofit on automatic. Private design cannot manually retrofit. Yeah, okay, so they should be retrofitting. I wonder why they're... Nope, okay, some of them have retrofitted. They must be just starting their retrofit. Yeah, no, they don't take that long. Even late game, they don't take that long. Okay, let's open up our space docks and see if we're actually retrofitting anything. Yeah, see, there's some ships in retrofit right now, it looks like. Swift Bargain. There's a exploration ship queued to construct. Should tell me what type it is there somewhere. Spaceport, where's the other spaceport? Nothing retrofitting up there. Now this one might have a cargo resource shortage still. Yeah, it doesn't have any gold or polymer up in that station, so it would be hard pressed to do some retrofits. You can see the pirates, these are a smuggler faction, and they are buying and or selling materials here. The rest are, no, that's reserved for, so they're buying, it looks like. The rest is owned by me. So I get income. You can see I have a bonus income of 1900 right now. That is from spaceport income, buying and selling minerals basically. Retrofitting the exploration ship is complete. Okay. We really need to... Okay, we already have somebody exploring up there. I'm going to come up here and see if we can get a jumping off point. Again, we're looking for a jumping off point in one of these. I don't know if I can colonize all the way out there or not. That's going to be very tight. Oh wait, I'm here. Yeah, I can colonize out to there. So we need something in one of these three systems, a lava planet, that we can colonize once we get the tech. And they have lifted their trade sanctions against us. We may again benefit from your superior trade. Now wait a second here. Let's take a look at economies. Gazarian Empire economy, my empire economy. Who has a superior trade? I'm going to also add one more construction ship at this point. And we're going to try to get some more of these luxury resources nailed down. And there's still one or two regular items we need. We have another independent colony population of Shandars. There's a lot of Shandar in this region of space. And they are off there to the right. So there's another colony we could potentially pop down. And that gives us access not to much. There's very little over in this direction that we could 1.5 sectors. That's out of colonial range there, even if I manage to colonize this. So that'll be the far eastern side of our empire at some point. Some unknown resources. Now again, we might get lucky and they may just take a look at us and say, you're strong enough, we want to join you. That's how we ended up obtaining our second colony. Although these guys aren't caving in. We almost actually entirely encompass their system with our influence. When that happens, maybe they'll flip over to us. Maybe, maybe not. We shall see. Okay, that one's completed. And we'll leave it on auto. That one we targeted. We'll let them finish. Okay, new character trait. He is now an addict. Of course, the one that we don't want to hang around is the one that's lasted the longest. -10 to corruption reduction and -10 to diplomacy. Blah. He's due for replacement, I'm sure. Do we have an intelligence agent still out? He's still out. He's due to complete his mission on 2/20, so about 3 months away still. So let's turn on our colonial influence, and you can see, empire influence. I mean, you can see that we're doing fairly well, even compared to the current leader. Our overall empire influence is slightly larger. Okay, we're not to the point where we can crash research colonization yet. Completed its mission, and we will go ahead and put you on. Who are these? Okay, they're friendly with us, or at least not hostile to us. I guess there is a difference. Let's go explore this supernova. I didn't see, was there any useful resources there? Looks like gold, lead, iridium, steel, some of the gases, and vodka hull. So not a lot in that system. We're certainly not going to expand too much in that direction, the way things are looking. Welcome for those that have joined here recently. I see the numbers changing, but my viewers list doesn't update all that often, so I can't see who it has been, but welcome to the stream. Probably going to look at doing this another hour, and then I'm going to take a break, have myself some lunch, and then possibly come back again early this afternoon. It's almost 11 a.m. right now. So probably stop at the save right around the noon point. It'll be like either 11:50 or 12:10. I forget exactly when the last save was. It wasn't that long ago. Okay. So what do we have in this system? A lot of gas giants. Is this Utopia? It is. Okay, that's the Ancient Guardians home system. I am not going to be messing with them. Leaders increased their colony happiness. It is now positive. Okay, we'll explore all systems in that sector with that one. Yep. Yeah, the unregistered, I understand, show up that way, or those just not logged in. Encountered a new empire, the Quantimo Technocracy. Okay, now what we have here is a race of amphibians with a population of 5.6 billion that have a really good research bonus. They are angry with us because their ignorance of our alien ways cause us to distrust you. You're going to get this penalty, -25 penalty, every time you meet a new race, at least one that is not your native race. So when I met the Shandar, we didn't have that penalty. That will eventually erode over time. They have one colony in an unknown location. with a tax revenue of 40,000, GDP of 143,000, strategic value of 597K. How does that compare with our strategic value? So we're about 4 or 5 times their strategic value. And they are, basically, we have found I presume an exploration ship. Yes, an exploration ship down here. What's this up here? That's right, the pirates were building a spaceport up there. Firepower of 212, so it's going to take a bit for me to knock that down. I certainly don't have the capability to do anything against them right now. But we can keep an eye on them, obviously, because we have our own mining stations and civilian ships traveling back and forth. They've not been an unfriendly bit so far. Okay, this is where we're going to start ending up paying money, I presume. They want us to pay $730 a month. And I think, if I remember correctly, they were huge, weren't they? 73 ships and 2,000 firepower. So, for the time being, we'll go ahead and pay their protection. It's not going to hurt us overall. Oh no, our agent has been detected after successfully stealing the territory map of the Gazarian Conformity. So they know we have active spies, but he was not captured. And I think that's probably these guys. Yeah, Capital Sofoke. So it's these guys over here. So this is their home system. They probably don't like me. Let's see. Our past dealings with you have been terrible. We are envious of your huge strength and power. So yeah, they don't like the fact that I had a spy active in their territory. That'll eventually erode as well. They're so far... Well, they're not as far away as I thought, but they're far enough away that I'm not going to be having to worry about tangling with them anytime soon. Yeah, that's the easiest way to start a game if you're new to the franchise, is pick one area and let the AI control everything else. Basically, you play in this case, you play the role of your empire's commander-in-chief, or at least top military chief. You don't get a say in what ships are handed to you or what research you have. You just control the ships you are given and troops that you are given. Okay, so the Supernova has no scenery bonus, no research bonus. It's worthless. We're up there. We'll go ahead and explore and see what is up there. And by the way, you're able to refuel at friendly empires as well, so I'll be able to do that when I run low on fuel. Okay, this one has completed its mission. Let's see if there's anything in this system other than the colony that is... so there's some dilithium there, and we were showing a shortage of that, but there's no luxury resources. I'll still end up doing some mining over there, I suspect. Okay, I always take a look over here, and I tend to keep either the exploration ships or the construction ships open and make sure they're all staying busy. So we got that construction ship completed over there. Let's go over there to the system that we just explored. And we'll mine that dilithium and polymer. And we're just about ready to complete our new ship size category. That'll allow us to build size 300 ships. And I'm not sure what the max base size is, but I'm not too worried about the bases. Okay, Pirates offer Empire Contact. I generally pay for these. It's a little bit expensive. I think they've tuned that in this game a little bit. It used to be somewhere between $1,200 and $2,200, but we're paying a lot more in this game. But that's fine. We have the money. And we want to know, let's see, it's the Haku Syndicate. So it's these purple guys. unknown. They're a mercantile guild Hakonish race, which is a reptilian family with 8.2 billion people on a single colony. So they haven't gotten their second colony yet. Most races have not researched colonization yet. I don't know how close anyone is, but certainly most races haven't. The only way they've obtained additional colonies is by either invasion, which I suspect the race up north has done, or having a colony assimilation like I had. They're master engineers and cunning schemers. Now these values are important because if I assimilate a race into my empire that have some of these bonuses, faster mining, colony income, if I take over a planet with this race on it, I can choose to assimilate them, and if I do, then I obtain some of those bonuses that they have as their racial characteristics. Okay, we've completed research and enhanced construction. Provides an increase to the maximum sizes of ships to 300 and bases to 900. Now, okay, first of all, we need to set up our new research. And we're going to go with advanced fission. We need to get rid of these basic space reactors and go to fission reactors, which will require a retrofit of our ships once those are done. We're going to also enhance our existing hyperdrive capability. This one will not require a retrofit. And the way you can tell is if you take a look here, take a look at the previous component here. This gives me access to basic space reactors. You can see that right under the project size. If you go to the next one here, this one gives me access to fission reactors. So that's a totally new component which would require a retrofit. You come down here, the enhanced hyperdrives shows an improvement to the Jerex hyperdrive, which is the component that we're using right now. So that would apply an immediate bonus to our existing technology. And those that missed it yesterday, I treat this is like a software upgrade. When you go from the existing technology Jerex hyperdrive to an improvement to or an enhancement to, that's like a software upgrade, whereas this going from a basic space reactor to a fission reactor is more like a hardware upgrade. So that's for those that are getting into the game. You'll see a lot of these improvements too, and wonder why you didn't get a notification to retrofit. Well, that's because they don't require a retrofit. Those upgrades take place automatically. You'll see the same thing here, Corvidian shields, improvement to Corvidian shields. However, if I go to the next tier, I can either take a brand new shield type, Tassalos shields, Dickelos shields, or another improvement to the existing Corvidian shields. So depending on which route I go this way will determine whether or not I require a retrofit when I get to that next level of tech. Okay, so we've got the research queued up. We did get point defense weapons completed, and we got shipboarding completed. So we're going to go and we're going to design a destroyer. Now, there is an existing destroyer class, which I could go in and just edit. Or I'm going to go ahead and go for the create a brand new destroyer design. I don't know how many people have or have not seen this, but we'll go ahead and do this one more time this session, and then this will probably be the last time I design from scratch. This will be there'll be 2 or 3 of my YouTubes that cover it now. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to change the role of the ship to a destroyer, and you can change your graphic for it as well. I'm going to leave it as is for now. I'm going to not alter the strategies for them yet, but you do have various strategies to go against stronger opponents and weaker opponents. Okay, well, here you go, taking it from scratch. You can set one strategy for facing stronger opponents, one strategy for facing weaker opponents, a strategy for invading other colonies, which this ship will not do. This won't be an invasion ship, and when to flee. For your civilian ships, basically, you're going to flee when enemy military sighted. For some of your weaker ships, like your exploration ships, you may not flee unless you're actually attacked. And then for your other ships, you're going to choose when to flee as based on shield or never flee in some cases. Okay, next thing is up in the top center is a listing of all the warnings and advice that your advisor will give you. The items in red are items that the ship design has to have based on your selected role. The items in yellow are suggested items to improve your ship in general. Top right is your energy and fuel, both usage and storage and collection. We'll get to that once we start actually adding components. The left center is a list of all the components you have available to you to put on a ship or port. Now you can uncheck this box here and it will show all components that you have. This is important if you have certain mineral resources, especially early in the game. For instance, the Maxos Blaster, if you click the Show Component Guide, requires Necrostone, Helium, and Gold. In the early game, you might not have access to Necrostone, but you still want to build a ship of the destroyer design. So if you uncheck this component, it would allow you to say pick up Pulse Blasters and put them on instead. I generally just go with the latest components as a general rule because I want the ships to be as technologically advanced as possible. So these are a list of all the components that I'll have access to put on this design. The center is your name and a listing of all the components currently on the design, and we'll see that as we start populating. Your movement statistics are here, both hyperspace and local movement. Industry is any mining, research, or manufacture ability you have. This will generally come into play only on your spaceports and construction ships, although cargo capacity is something for your civilian ships as well, and medical and research, medical in particular, is important for your larger military ships. Having a medical facility there on your capital ships, your cruisers, your carriers will help you when you start getting into battles and troop boarding and whatnot. Bottom right is your defensive capability, bottom center is your offensive capability, and the bottom left tells you what any given component capability is that you have selected here. Okay, so we're going to start clearing names off, or warnings off. First thing we do is we have to have a ship name. So this is a cast-off military ship, CMS. This is a destroyer class, so it'll be DE. I tend to name my ships using the first letters as the role, so it helps me keep in mind what my ships are. So my escorts, for instance, were the Esquire. My frigates were, I don't know what I named my frigates. This one will be, we'll go with the Delaware. Why not? Anyone from that state will be happy they have a military ship named after them now. Okay, so that is the name. That clears one warning. Now, the items that as I populate this list ship will be built and or repaired in the order of the components listed in this box. So what I tend to do is I put the most important components on the top of the list. You'll have to wait till I get a ship with the role. Well, I don't have any ships with the role BO. So, sorry. Now, individual ship names might come up that way. But the classes, I like keeping this way because it allows me to keep them in mind what they are. So anyway, at the top of the list is going to go my command center. A ship cannot do anything without a command center, and you'll see that cleared off at least one of the warnings. The next thing I tend to put on is a reactor. that will start allowing for energy usage on the ship. The third thing I put on if I have them is shields. So if everything else below this point is damaged, let's say this ship is almost completely destroyed. Let's say it has maybe 1 or 2 shields left. I'm going to be putting more shields on anyway. You'll see as I add a shield, it adds a shield strength and recharge rate down here. When I added the basic space reactor, it adds some reactor power and output up here. Let's say everything except these 4 components are destroyed, and I have, let's say I have 3 or 4 more shields on, and everything below this is destroyed. What will happen is the ship will come in, the repair ship will come in and start repairing from the top undestroyed point. So if I have this, I'll have at least some basic defenses to fend off any further attacks on the ship. So I tend to build the most important things at top, so they're the first things built and or repaired. Next thing is life support and HAB modules, and you'll see that cleared some of the warnings up here. Although as I add more components and the ship gets bigger, you'll see some warnings pop up for requiring more life support and more HAB. It's going to be a balancing act. Again, I do have a limited ship size. Okay, the next important thing is the hyperdrive. So we'll come up here and add the Jerix hyperdrive. So that will give me the ability to get out of after I have, actually, you know what? I guess before that I probably need the thruster, then the hyperdrive, and then the directional thruster. Okay, now you'll see with just the bare bones here, I still need fuel cells. I can't do anything without fuel. Okay, now it's a military ship, so it needs weapons. We'll discount that for just a minute. It also suggests adding cargo and troop component modules. Okay, so bare bones ship here with just the basics. We have reactor output of 46. That gives us 46 energy to use. We're using 4 of that right now. That 4 static energy is based on probably the command center using 2 static energy. What else is using static energy? Life support is using static energy, 1, and the HAB module is using static energy. So we've got 46 power capability, and we're using 4 for basic components. That gives us an excess of 42, and that 42 is used for your shields and your weapons and everything else. We also use the fuel type Castellan. Again, that's the most common. That is your starting fuel type. Eventually, our military ships are going to end up using a different fuel type, while my civilian ships will remain using the Castellan. That allows me to strategically place refueling bases and whatnot, and prevents me from wiping out the entire galaxy supply of a given fuel type. My total energy storage is 90, and that'll come into play later on. And my current technology makes me use 4.11 fuel units, or units of Castellan, for every energy bit that I use. Now, down here under the movement, you'll also see I use energy when I move. When I go into hyperdrive, I'm using 42 energy right there, or 2.1, or roughly half of my fuel units per, oh no, I'm sorry, I take that back, a quarter of a fuel unit per hyperspace second in hyperspace, basically. Okay, so we need to now beef this up. We have a size of 68. However, we need to add weapons, obviously, and we need to add more components as this ship goes along. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to come up and I'm going to want to use these ships to perform assaults and try to capture ships. Each assault pod will give me an assault strength of 50 and a range to board of 140. They're a size 8. I'm going to add 2 assault pods. Now, they're not weapons per se, but that is what I'm going to be using this ship as. With that in mind, against stronger opponents, I'm still going to go in standoff mode, but against weaker opponents, I'm going to go all weapons. That'll allow us to pound on the ships with every weapon as those weapons come in range, and try to disable them so that I can board them. Now, since it's going to be a boarding ship, I'm also going to add a tractor beam. These are gravitic beams that pulls the enemy ship towards you for capture and attack. Alternatively, it can also push stronger attackers away from you. So we're going to save. And then we're going to add a tractor beam. And then we're going to add standard weapons. And we're going to want a firepower of, I don't know, the range of 60 to 70 maybe for this ship. Our frigate has a firepower of about 45 if I remember correctly. So basically each class design is going to be a slight step up over the previous one, as is the case in real life. So we will add one tractor beam now. Now, because of the size, we just got a new warning pop up, we need more Haven life. And I'm just going to go ahead and add a couple of each of these because I know it's going to come up to more. Now the other thing is, life support doesn't do anything other than add some usage. But as I add HAP modules, you'll see down here I have a boarding defense strength that will go up as I add HAP modules from 96 to 112 to 128. So we actually can repel boarders based on the number of crew we have, which is based on your HAP module. It would attack, no, it's still going to only attack anyone that is actually an enemy. Weaker ships versus stronger ships is based on, I believe, primarily on the total firepower of the ship, or strategic value. So again, this is going to be roughly a 60 to 70 firepower ship, I'm guessing. So against things like escorts and frigates that have, we've seen a lot of pirates with firepower 45 ships. That's considered a weaker opponent. And against stronger opponents, I'm going to stand off and lob these missiles that I'm about ready to add to the ship. And we're going to add, let's see, we're going to add 5 for now. That gives us a firepower of 30. And then we will, I don't know if I want the graviton beam or not. Gravitic weapons are nice. They damage ships with blasts of power of gravity waves. They completely bypass both shields and armor, so they go directly for ship systems. They're effective on closer and smaller targets. More effective on closer and smaller targets. The problem is it's a very short range weapon, and in order to board, I really need to take down shields. Let's see, the assault pods are short-range shuttles that allow boarding and capture of enemy ships or bases. Assault pods transport a small team of commandos to the enemy target, which they can board only if its shields are low enough. So the gravitic weapon won't help me lower shields, so I think I'm going to pass on that, and I'm going to go with the standard Maxos blaster. Okay, we're up to our size 175, so we still have plenty of room to add some things here. I think I'll add a second, I don't know if adding a second tractor beam will help or not. Let's go to show component guide. Now here's where we have to pay attention to the resources needed. I have only one source of iridium and I think only one source of krypton right now, although I do believe I was building a second iridium source and chromium source. I guess I can put a second one. Some components, for instance down here at the med center, if you take a look at the component guide, learn about medical centers. They provide rapid healing for any troops on board the ship or base. Only one medical center component is required to provide benefits. Additional components provide no effect. Of course, you can always add additional components just in case, because there's always a possibility one of your medical centers will be destroyed. But at least on my smaller ships, I don't generally worry about them. Okay, let's go ahead. Before we add more weapons, we still need to improve the speed and of these ships. So we're going to add a second space reactor, which is going to allow us to max our hyperdrive capability. 12.5 is our max hyperdrive capability of the JRX hyperdrive. But our in-system speed is terrible, so we need to add, and our turn rate is terrible, so we need to add more thrusters and directional thrusters. So we're going to add these, And these are a pure thrust versus mass. So each of these engines provide a thrust of 600. Each one also uses 4 energy at max energy use. Whereas at the cruise speed, which is their standard speed, they use 2 energy per. And you can see the size of these jumping up quite quick as I get these to a reasonable speed here. I want about a 20 speed, I think. 19, that's good. Sprint of 22. We need to improve the turn rate as well, so we'll add some directional thrusters. I'd like about a 12 to 13 turn rate. Oh, you're quite welcome. I'm glad to see this made Steam because it's gotten a lot of interest in the game. And I'm always glad to stream these games. I love interacting with the audience. And glad to see people interested in it. This has been an awesome game for years, and it's gotten better with each expansion that has come out. Whereabouts in Germany are you from? Or are you from Germany, or are you just in Germany right now, stationed military or something? Okay, so we've got a good cruise speed, got a good sprint speed, got a relatively decent turn rate. We don't have any armor yet, so let's add 10 armor. It gives us an armor strength of 100. I think I'll add one more shield as well. It gives us a little less than 31 to play with before we hit max size. So we've got that. Now, if I wanted to use these as invasion ships, I'd add troop modules, but this is not going to be an invasion ship. Very nice. I spent a little bit of time over there. I as you can see from below, I 12 years in the Air Force, or 25 years in the Air Force, 12 years over in England. So I obviously did a lot of traveling in and about Europe during my 12 years there. I absolutely loved Europe. All of the history out there was absolutely wonderful to actually visit. Yeah, and it popped up on Steam. As far as I know, 2 weeks ago, even a week ago, it had not planned. It had not been. The producers were not planning on putting it on Steam. Now, what I suspect happened is they were in talk with Steam, with the company themselves, to determine whether or not they could get it on there or not. But as of even a week ago, there was no plans posted on the forums to put it on Steam, so I'm absolutely ecstatic they got it up there. Mostly stuck in Nebraska. Grand Forks missile base, I presume. I was aircraft maintenance, tankers and AWACS repair, avionics. A lot of the computers and autopilot systems and radios and all that type of stuff. Okay, let me finish this design. Offutt, yeah, Offutt. Grand Forks is North Dakota, South Dakota, Dakotas anyway. I've got friends that was it? That's the Offutt. That's the one of the big linguist bases, isn't it? They have a big intelligence base there, intelligence outfit. I think that's where one of my friends retired. Yeah, yep, I've heard that before. Yeah, formerly SAC. Don't they have like the 488th Intelligence or something like that based out of there? I'm pretty sure that's where my friend retired. He was a linguist. Okay, so we have 28 more points, so we're going to just add a couple more weapons here, and I'll add the Maxos blasters are how big? 5, so we'll add 2 missiles, 2 blasters. That's going to put us 2 over. We'll pull 2 armor off, and we'll call this design good. Yeah, I was in England from 1989 to 2000. Mid 89 to the end of 2000. And I actually had a training assignment, 8-week training assignment there in early 2000, where I was actually in Germany at Vogelweh. I don't know if you know where that is. Ramstein, obviously, you're sure to know, was right in that area for my last 8 weeks. Yeah, you know what? I find people are pretty much the same everywhere. You find very nice, the best of people and the worst of people anywhere you go. I have never had any problem. You know, you hear a lot of stories. Americans hear a lot of stories. Those that are traveling tourists and whatnot hear a lot of stories about like French and them being so stuck up against Americans and this and that. But really, if you just make an effort to learn a little bit about them, learn maybe just the basics of a language to where you can, you know, show that you're trying to communicate and whatnot. You'll find lots of good people, along with, you know, there's a few bad eggs in every crowd. Okay, so this ship is going to be called complete. We now have a destroyer class, which is the largest size we can build, and we're going to go in and we're going to queue 6 of those to be built. And I'm going to do something with those 6 right away. It's going to cost us $20,000 to build. We have plenty of money. Yep, a lot of it is probably preconception. Misconception is part of it. We're going to go into the ships and bases screen again and drop down to our military ships. You'll see all our existing ships down below, as well as all of the ships just being built are up here in orange. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to assign the destroyers, 4 of them, to a new fleet. First all. We're going to turn off the automation of them because I'm going to have a purpose for these ships. Then we're going to come down to the rest of these, and those ships that are not currently fleeted, I'm going to put a couple each of the frigates and escorts in that fleet that I just created. And this is going to be a pirate base attack fleet, basically. I'm going to use them to attack unescorted pirate mining bases and maybe the small spaceports of the pirates, particularly the ones that are already hostile toward me. So we're going to turn those off. That's a frigate and an escort. Another frigate. And another escort. I'll sort these by fleet real quick. So we still have 7 in our capital Empire capital, defending that. Then we have the new fleet we just created, and then all of the rest of our ships currently are on automation. And we have one that needs to be repaired. Let's select that ship and go to it. I don't know, it's down here, and it looks like it's getting queued for repair, so that's good. So once those ships come out of construction, we will have a small anti-pirate fleet to play with. Now I don't know, we'll probably go on an intelligence mission against one pirate faction that is actually showing hostility toward us, and that was the Cruel Corsairs. We know they have 22 ships and 1,000 firepower. Which isn't all that big, and we do know that they are fighting here in another faction over here in this system. So we're not the only ones that will be fighting them. And I think what we'll do is we'll bring, let's see, we don't have any pirate bases here. Let's see if we can find that particular faction. I know we had some knowledge of them. Let's see if we can actually find them here on the map. I believe they were up in these areas here, weren't they? Nope, that's the Buccaneers. That is not the ones that I'm worried about. Okay, here is a new screen. We're going to open a new screen and use this for the first time. Down here is the Galaxy map screen. And this can be filtered by a lot of different areas. You've got a key here. It shows you the star types, the map, the planet types within a system when you select a specific system. If it's highlighted in yellow, then it's matching a filter. We're going to come in here and download or drop down and take a look at where we know the pirate bases are. So all these yellow dots are known pirate bases, and we're going to see if we can find one of the races that were, well, okay, that doesn't tell me who they belong to. Okay, that's not going to work. But we know where the known pirate bases are, so we can go back in. We can go to select that item here and see what pirate faction owns them. But you can also use this map here to find potential colonies. So all the yellow ones are potential colonies. Known resources. If you need to find a specific source of something, let's say we wanted to find Jacanta ivory. Well, there's none out there that we know of. There is a source of ruthenium ale, so you can use this map in addition to the Galaxy Planner, expansion planner, to find key items. Going this route gives you a better idea where things are compared to your existing system. We're going through the expansion planner. If I wanted to look for, let's go back to that ruthenium ale. Oops. Oh, okay. There is no known source. That's probably because we already own that one. But if we were to select one, it's a lot harder to see. In this case, we have the Terralian down. Okay, you can see that it's in our area a little bit, but the map is so small here. If I wanted a better look, I'd come down here and select the Terralian down, and you can see a little bit easier where those sources are. So let's go back to the pirate bases and look at the other three bases. One of these I'm pretty sure is a base of the pirate faction that we are concerned about. I could be wrong. I guess I'm wrong because I'm pretty sure the fifth one is a different race entirely. Yep. Okay. So we don't know where any of the currently hostile pirate faction are. I've seen them, so they're in some of these systems that aren't fully explored, I suspect. So we will find them again shortly. Okay, I think I'm going to go this save point +1. We're probably a few minutes out, 5-10 minutes out from the next save point, I'm guessing. So this save point +1, and then I'm going to take a hour break or so and have myself some lunch, and then come back to this this stream, and we'll see how far we can push through over the course of the next few hours this afternoon. Okay, we got a research center done. So if we take a look here, we have a research Empire research potential of 727,000 right now, and you can see that we're pretty close to using that max capability. You can see what our current capabilities are, where we have scientists are, and what they're doing for us, and a listing of all the stations, research stations that we have. I wonder why we have a 000 research station here. Is it being built? It shouldn't be a 000. It's either damaged or maybe it's being built. Let's go to it and see what's up with it. It's not built. It's being built. So is this construction ship on auto. This construction ship is on auto. It decided we need another research station, so it selected this place to plop down a research station, which is fine. We have a non-hostile pirate faction here. At least non-hostile at this point. I really don't like when it does the research stations because they're too susceptible. I just have to remember not to put one of my scientists on there. So going back to this screen, oh, there it is. Learn about research. If you read this, the Galactopedia is really nice, and it's also expanded quite a bit with the universe. Goes over a lot. Natural limit. As your empire grows, research speed will also continue to increase in line with the strategic value of your empire. Okay, that's one thing I was not aware of it. Your research capability, that number up here in the top right, this number here, is based on your strategic value, which is actually extremely nice for us because if you take a look at our comparison screen, we have the highest strategic value right now. So that's good to know, which means we have the highest base research capability. Now, racial characteristics will modify that, and I'm not a research race. Anyway, back down here. However, there's a natural limit which, when reached, will cause the rate of increase in your research speed to drop off considerably. Once your empire's colonies reach a certain strategic value, research speed will not increase appreciably. It means very large empires do not have a great advantage over medium-sized empires when it comes to research speed and access to new technology. So there's a tapering off point where research is research, and it doesn't matter how many bases you have. People are still stuck at the same level of research and starting from the same, if I had 10 weapons research stations all researching base technology types, well, they all have the same base starting point, so they're all going to be researching basically along the same path, so the maximum research you can have is going to be limited. You should always attempt to maintain more capacity, this number, than your current empire currently needs. This may mean building additional spaceports or dedicated research stations. So this number here, added up, 260, 260, 520, and 380 is 900, is above my total potential, and that's what you're striving for, is to keep this number above this number here, but not a lot above, because if you got too much over that, then you're just paying extra money in maintenance fees that is not being used. Yes. Although I will admit, I've been a GalCiv fan, and I am looking forward to GalCiv 3 release. It's just, it's different. It's got a lot of similarities, but the pure turn-based is, a bit different. So it's a different style game. Okay, so we've got that research station completed, which also gives us, effective immediately. We are imposing trade sanctions against you. Let's see how you survive without our trade. Hako Space Syndicate says effective immediately, all of our trade with your tyrannical empire is terminated. Yes, it is discounted until the end of the weekend. 25th, until midweek. I think it was the 30th. It'll be on discount. So you can get a little bit cheaper right now. And the nice thing is Universe packaged up comes with the base game plus all 4 expansions. So it is a deal. So the Hakane Hako Syndicate, I don't think we know where they are. Let's take a look at our diplomacy screen. Hako Syndicate, unknown capital. Well, let's change that. We can figure out where they are, right? Possibly. Select our trusty spy who almost got caught last time but didn't. Come down here to the Haku Syndicate. Now I could, since I'm going to be attacking pirates here in the near future, I could use them to try to find the territory maps of the pirates. You can see we have an 87% success rate against these guys. If I change this to the Corsairs that I will be battling here in the near future, cool Corsairs, same espionage mission, steal territory, and same length of time, it's down to a 74%. It's harder to spy against the pirates because they're they're pirates. They don't trust anybody. So it's harder to spy against the pirates, but eventually I will do that. But it's always nice knowing, again, where the Empire races are. Again, first of all, so went from a 74 to an 87%, changing it to an Empire race. First of all, in order to send an ambassador to somebody, you have to know where their homeworld is. So I always try to get that information as soon as I can for every Empire race out there. Okay, I think, okay, our frigate was completed. That will be the repair. Have our destroyers been fully built yet, or are they still in work? Nope, they're still in work. Okay, so we'll let it run some. In the meantime, our construction ships are all busy. Our escort ships, or exploration ships, are not all busy. So let's take a look at this one. Another empty solar system. We have a lot of empty solar systems around us. Now, I suspect that my initial setup, when I set up this game, had something to do with that. Just as a guess. You can have a variety of galactic condition initial setup. Oops. I guess it helps if it's unpaused. It's like, why is nothing moving? I've got it paused. And the Ancient Guardians. So they haven't been traveling to the Galleon Major. They've been traveling from them in this general direction out here. So there's something out here that they've been taking strike fleets to. Out this direction, maybe. I can't tell for sure. We acquired a new character trait, Poor Space Logistician. Bad. Minus 10 to ship energy savings, but he still has local defense tactics bonus. And this is a ship captain, not a fleet captain, so that those penalties and bonuses affect just his current ship. Now, we do have a fleet admiral. Let us take a look. He's still an unknown. We're going to add him to that 4th fleet that we just created. That's our assault fleet. And get him a little bit of experience. It's going to take him till July 30th to get to that fleet. Also, we need to rename that fleet. So let's go to our fleet screen and rename this fleet. Pirate Base Cap. That'll be our primarily mining bases, but we might be able to take them against small spaceports too. The fleet already has a firepower of 180, and it still has 4 unbuilt ships. So we'll go back to that fleet screen here in a bit as I get a little bit just a little bit further in, and I have a couple fleets on different different duties. Let's take a look at our independent military ships here. I've got one not doing anything, so I'm going to put him on. Oh, he is on automated. Okay, never mind. Don't know why it's not showing the automation icon there. Cancel automation, re-automate, and see if he changes his. Okay, increased population skill skill level at the colony up here. So let's take a look at our colonies. Again, our capital is maxed out. Last we looked, this planet was at about 4 billion population. It is now at 5 billion. We can take a look at the population. They're extremely happy with us. Look at that, 77% happiness. And the reason, one of the reasons for that, among other things, is I'm not taxing them at all right now. Well, now that they're at 5 billion people, I'm going to bump up the taxes. We'll make it a modest 13%. Again, the capital is sitting at about 25%. We want to make sure we keep this cash flow decent. And again, our primary cash flow, the private sector has their own cash flow. We can't do much to control that other than play with the ship designs a little bit and where we build bases, mining bases and things. But our primary revenue, they have a colony revenue of $671,000. That's their GDP. Our taxes coming out of that, they're taxing the colonies of $153K. That is our primary income. We get some minor income from trade, foreign trade, spaceport income. Whenever the civilians build a new ship at our spaceports, we get a bit of an income, as well as the resorts, which right now aren't doing much. We just bumped their tax rate up a little bit, so their colony taxes are going to go up to maybe, I don't know, $170,000 or so, and that'll be our current income. So we'll watch that. Okay, there's a save. So we'll go to the next save point will be about 1/4 the hour. We'll go through that point, and then, like I said, I'm going to take about